Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm like Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm like Mr. Preacher Man, please don't be alarmed. We just come to pray, we don't mean no harm. I see how you're looking, of course we ain't perfect. We figured if we came to see Jesus it would be worth it. We live up the block, and I know you've seen us running from the cops. All this senseless killing, we want it to stop. We want you to know, sir, if you don't let us in, we have no place to go, sir. Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm like Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm the Preacher Man, Bible in my hand. I'm so glad that you all came to church today, my friend. And yes, you all are welcomed as we seek His face. Here we like the organ, I know you like bass. That's okay, we love the same God. We may dress a little different, but love the same God. And our issues may be different, but love the same God. We want you to know, sir, that we will love you, not judge you, and want you to grow, sir. Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm like Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. Now watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me worship. Now watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me worship. Now watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me worship. Now watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me worship. Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. I'm like Mr. Preacher Man, I don't want no trouble. I just came to praise and worship with my brothers, praying to the Lord and hoping He forgive us. I want God to save us, don't want the streets to kill us. Oh, nah, nah, nah. I don't want no trouble. I just come to worship. Oh, nah, nah, nah. I just come to worship. I just come to worship. Oh, nah, now watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me worship. Now watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me worship.
Nobody stopping my shine. They try to break me, try to take me out, but I got Jesus on my side. So bad I thought I would die, but ain't no power stronger than the one who came and laid down his life. And I got mountains to climb, but the enemy can't stop me, 'cause there's a calling on my life. So when I'm crying, don't last too long, 'cause he gon' step in and make it alright. Won't he do it? He said he would. Fight your battles for you, they gon' wonder how you sleep at night. Won't he do it? Oh, yes he will. Anybody tell you something different, you know that's a lie. You gon' look back and be so amazed. How it turned out, it's only his grace. Won't he do it? He said he would. So I trust him at all times. I'm hurting. Ain't nobody perfect, everybody's hurting. Need to whisper, Lord, save me from my weaknesses. Cause you're always on time. Come and get your breakthrough, cause I'm gonna get mine. You said you would. Fight your battles for you, they gon' wonder how you sleep at night.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It is now time.
Good evening and welcome to another segment of the NAACP Truth Show. I'm
Good evening.
Willie
Good
DUMAS,
evening,
your host,
audience.
along
Good
with Gwen
evening.
Westbrooks. Hope you're having a great evening. Hope you had a great weekend. And of course, we've got some good things to talk about today that's happening here in Georgia.
Some important things.
Very important things.
Talk about
Absolutely.
today.
We do know on last week we had a visit from Governor Walz here in the Midtown, and people got an opportunity to kind of get a closer
candidate for
look.
vice president.
Absolutely.
Yes. I saw that in the media. I think we were doing voter registration
Exactly.
that day, and we saw the police, the sheriff cars coming through like a motorcade, and so he was here last week, so that was a good thing. I think Vance is supposed to be here in Macon, I think this week or something like that. So,
Right. Exactly.
We're getting prepared.
It's becoming quite contentious, and of course, people have an opportunity to learn more about the issues that these particular candidates represent. And,
Right.
And certainly that gives them a better feel as far as how they should be voting in this upcoming
And that's
election.
what we want people to do. We can't tell you who to vote for, but we
Absolutely.
want you to research your candidate, research the issues on their platform, look at their platform. There's plenty of material out there, the website. You can't read everything. Everything on the internet is not true, or websites are not true. But
Right.
you just need to research a candidate, find out what they stand for, find out what your morals and values, what your morals and values are, so you compare that to what their platform is. We do want to make sure that first off to say that the last day to register to vote is October the 7th to be able to vote in the November 5th election. You will have to be registered to vote by October the 7th. Early voting will start October the 17th through November 1st, and election day will be November 5th. Saturday voting there, which will be on October the 16th and October the 26th. There will be one Sunday voting. I think the Sunday voting is the 17th of October. That will be a Sunday voting. The Board of Elections voted in this past election. I was not present, but Commissioner Lucas keeps me updated on, and I do also get emails from the Board of Elections. So,
And what are those locations? It's only, 2 locations for early voting? I mean,
right, early voting is at the main Board of Elections and at the Lane Lucas Center. That's what early voting. And so absentee, we're hoping that they get this approved. That's one of the concerns that the NAACP had, and we addressed with the Board of Elections. And I saw last week where they're looking at moving the some of the ballot boxes to the front where the court offices are, so people won't have to walk the distance. They're still waiting on the state attorney to approve whether or not the absentee ballot box can be placed in a different area than what it is, because we did see when we was during the May election, people were had paperwork in the hand, and And we did talk to some people that, you know, got back in their cars because the distance was too far for them to walk to put the absentee ballot
Right.
in the box. And the absentee ballot is located only at the Board of Elections at the Macon Mall. That's the only place where it is. So we really need to work on that. But that has to be approved because it has to be 24-hour surveillance with the absentee ballot drop box. So hopefully they'll get that worked out before the early voting starts.
And we are encouraging voters to, if you're doing a mail-in ballot, that to be your last resort because of the postal
Right, right.
service.
And they're recommending that if you vote absentee, like Mr. Dumas said, to actually by mail to actually vote early, or you need to be able to take your absentee ballot to the Board of Elections because of the issues with the mail. And also, um, if you are disabled and you filled out your absentee ballot as being disabled, you can someone can bring your ballot in. A family member can bring your absentee
Absolutely.
ballot in if you listed yourself as being disabled on your absentee ballot. So we want to encourage people to make sure that they take heed to the information that we're giving, so we won't get to the polling place. So we are encouraging everyone to also go to my voter page to check your status to make sure you have not been purged out of the system. You know that there was, they passed that ruling where they go in and purge you out of the voter register. So make sure that you check it periodically. I checked mine last week and I'm still in the wrong district for state
Wow.
representative. So the website is still
Still
wrong
messed
for
up.
me. So hopefully they'll have it right at the polls. It's going to be a mess if they don't, because I hope they got it right. But so far, I don't know who's at fault. Whether is the Secretary of State still got me in the wrong
District or
for the state representative. So we want to make sure that everybody, you go to my voter page, and what you do, the instructions are, you go to type in my voter page, and when it comes up, you'll click on my voter page, and then it's gonna bring you to a screen where you can put your first initial, your last name, and there's a little drop box. You can choose what county that you're in. If you're in Bibb County, you'll choose Bibb County. Then it's going to ask you for your date of birth. When you put your date of birth in, it's going to like clock for a minute, like the symbol, like Georgia, and then it'll pop up everything. You can actually request. There's a lot of things you can do on your My Voter page. You can request your absentee ballot out. You can do all of that on My Voter page. You can email yourself your a copy of your precinct card. You go on there and find out what precinct. It tells you when the last time you voted,
right.
so you can check to see whether or not you're an active voter or not on My Voter page. And those are the instructions to get to My Voter page.
And that's mvp.sos.ga.gov. For those of you who may not know how to get there, you want to type that in, and that'll be able to get you right in there.
And so we want to talk for a few minutes about the ruling last Friday, actually.
Right.
The State Board of Elections voted on a rule, and that the Georgia State Elections Board voted on Friday to approve a new rule that require poll workers to count the number of paper ballots by hand after the voting is completed. Um, and so, um, and the new rule requires that the ballots are counted by each poll worker. It has to be 3 poll workers. They have to be counted by each, and they have to match. They're not going by the number of voters; they're going by the number of ballots. And so that's why some people are concerned about that, because it could possibly delay the results
actual
of the
results.
election, because you're having to hand count the ballots, and they have to match the I guess they call it the tabulator. It has to match, um, the ballots have to match. And so it could be a discrepancy. And if there's any discrepancy, which they passed a rule just last month, that they don't have to certify the election. I can remember being in the Board of Elections meeting, and we were concerns about certifying the election, the May election, and then someone said, "Well, the Board of Elections has to certify the election." But I can remember listening to uh, one of the um, Georgia, the State Board of Elections, one of the
Board members, sir.
board members made the statement that this is not new. This is something that they've always been able to certify. Yeah, but they hadn't. But they were always they said in the meeting that they have to certify the election. So now you're saying that it's always been like that, and it has not. Now they're saying that you cannot certify the election, because that's the case. They wouldn't have certified make them be of election, because we was in the, this. We had 7 out of 9 districts that voted in the wrong district.
District, right.
So um, and even with the state representative Warren Jackson and Tangent Hearing, it was only in the May runoff. It was only like a 44 difference, I think,
In the
voted.
voting
And
count.
I think with that issue, the split precincts is, I think, what caused a lot of chaos in the state representative race, because of the split districts. There were, I think it's 3 or 4 voting precincts that had split districts, and when people that voted for them in May, when they got ready to go back and vote for them in June, they couldn't vote for them because they actually got votes that they didn't supposed to get in the May election, because they were voting actually in one people in 143 were voting for in 145,
45.
because they had split districts. So we don't know actually who won that race or not. But those are some of the rules that we need to pay attention to. Um, we're waiting on to hear from the state NAACP. I know we had an emergency meeting on last Friday in reference to this new rule, and I'm not going to speak on it right now. I'm going to wait till we do the press conference, and then I'll speak on the NAACP's role in it, the lawyers committees. Um, I know that they are involved, so I won't go into any further details. But I know that the NAACP, we had the executive committee had an emergency meeting on Friday after this ruling came out, where the poll workers have to hand count each ballot, and they have to count them in 50s. And so, you know,
And they've had poll workers to say that this is going to be almost an impossible task. They had related that information to the
right,
board.
and it's just so late in the game to
Right.
talk about doing this. We're almost to know at November the 5th, and then they want to make all these changes, which could delay the results of the election, and it's all designed. It's designed.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to kind of see what's kind of going on.
Yeah, and so I'm just hoping that make them be able to get the what everything that they need. Because to my understanding, I think the disc that they were using, they were actually re they used like a floppy disk or whatever, but he said that he was going to order some new ones because they were actually using those over and over. So it didn't make sense to me. But we're hoping that everything is uh, up and running the way it's supposed to be running. I see Faye Alexander. Thank you for tuning in, Miss Alexander. Thank you. Making sure that that information is, and we're going to be updating you on every week. We'll be updating you on what's going on, any changes that we'll be making sure that we update you on that. um I do know that um the Georgia State Board of Elections went against the state attorney general office, the secretary of state, and the
Right.
Association of County Election Officers. They went against, they were not for this new rule, and they went against this new rule. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of folks filing lawsuits on behalf of this new rule that they have. They come up with at the last minute. Like I said, it's all designed. But Mr. Dumas, tell me what you think about it. Now I was doing some research. We go into the jail every week, and people are not able to vote because they are a convicted felon. And so, with the one of the candidates,
Right.
former President Trump, has been convicted as a
Right.
convicted felon, but by design they chose not to.
Eliminate him from
Well, they've
participating.
chose not to sentence him until after the election because we don't know what the sentence is going to be. But because of the law in the city that he lives in, you have to be actually incarcerated in order not to be able to vote.
Wow.
So you can be a convicted felon as long as you're not actually incarcerated. So that was, like I say, dumb. I just feel that the voting rights, whether or not someone has the right to vote as a convicted felon, it should not be in the state's hand. It should not be determined by each state because it was passed on a federal
Federal level.
level.
Exactly.
Then uh, that's something that Congress should be making a decision on whether or not a person that's a convicted felon, whether or not they have the right to vote, not by state. The state didn't pass this law, and they shouldn't have the control whether or not a convicted felon is able to vote because we see that they have different rules.
Right.
And Georgia is just one of Georgia got these Jim Crow laws that's been on the books for 1,000 years, and like I said, is the voters. Our voting rights is the most nonviolent tool that we have, that we can make things happen if we just get out and vote.
Absolutely.
I'm saying we got these laws on the books that's been there forever, and you know, voting has nothing to do with you being. You're still a U.S. citizen. When you became a convicted felon, that did not strip you from being a U.S. citizen.
Correct.
And so it should have nothing to do with you being able to vote or not to vote because you are a convicted felon.
Right.
I see Patrick
Davis
Davis. Yeah,
says Trump could still vote for himself after New York conviction if he's not in prison on election day.
right.
So he
So,
could
but
still.
he's not going to be in prison because they've decided to extend the sentence to after the election. So, I guess if, I don't even want to think about it. So,
Some very unusual circumstances.
yeah, and it's something that has, we got it. And like I was telling someone today when we was in a conversation, and people think that, like I told her, I said, whoever wins, if they don't have control of the House and the Senate, it's going to be an issue
Right.
because people, you got these parties and they're going to block things that you want to pass, and the president's going to want to pass. They're going to try to block everything that they do. So it has a lot. That's why it's so important that people understand. And the NAACP is not a political organization. We are a human and civil rights organization, but we do deal with people voting rights and making
Right.
sure people's rights are protected. But um, we just can't have these different laws on the books that are different in different states. The Voting Rights Act was passed on a federal level, so it should never be in the hands of the state because they're gonna do what they want to do, and you have is more people of color that are incarcerated, and so
And it's
I'm hoping it's more women are voting than men that are voting, but we got to change that. Also, we want because most men are affected by, really affected by
most of the
um,
laws.
most of the laws, and so we just, especially when it comes to our criminal justice system. So, I just encourage people to vote because not to just, like I said, not to focus on the person that's running for office, but you look at the issues that are at hand. We're dealing with people. I was listening to a lady that on the news last night that she had twins and she had to decide whether to abort one of them because of him having a heart condition that could affect the other baby, and she had to go out of state in order to do, to abort the other child that had the condition. And so, people that are raped that decide not to, you know, I, yeah, I just feel that the government should not have any say so in what a person does, a female
medically to
does
the
to their
body.
body, right? Or anything like that. It's just it's really gotten out of hand, and with this, you know, they should not be in the doctor's office with anybody when it comes, unless you're going to be making sure that people, you need to be involved if you're going to be making sure that everybody in Georgia have health care. That's what
Right.
we need to be focusing on, not telling somebody what they can do with their body.
And then when you look at certain laws, you kind of question yourself and say, well, what has changed, to make things, need for change, in that regard.
And people just, they got to vote. I'm just saying, look at the turnout that we had. Like in my district, my uh, the commissioner won, but she didn't get a whole lot of votes. Not out of the registered voters that's in that precinct. She didn't get a whole lot of votes. And the people had we had a lot of people running. We
Right.
had was it 4 or 5 people running in that district that took away, votes. So, you know, she didn't get a whole lot of votes, not for the number of people that were registered in that district, but because there was a lot of factors that played part in it. That were because of the number of people were running and people voted in the wrong district, had the wrong ballots, and so that had a lot to do with it. People, they never did give statistics, but like I said, um,
And how
people,
can you compensate for that?
yeah, we'll never find out unless somebody come in and do an investigation and do like they trying to do hand by hand. You'll never really find out what happened, because I know when I go into the meetings, they kind of don't speak like I really don't care, because they don't want you to speak out and say, they just want you to accept whatever's going on, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing. If something,
That's right.
John Lewis say you see something, you say something. And so, I felt that the handicap accessibility of the uh, in discussing it with the in our executive committee meeting, the handicap accessibility to make them all need to be addressed, and we addressed it. The people receiving the incorrect ballots, um, we addressed that because it needed to be addressed, because you know we're supposed to be about democracy, and that's one of the things that the NAACP is very concerned about, is making sure that um, voters' rights are protected.
Exactly.
I was, and kind of off that subject for a minute, but I want people to people, if you are a homeowner in Macon, if you own a house in Macon and you're not living in it, you need to be checking on and make sure you ain't gotten any mail, because I know people saw in the news where this man's house was demolished,
Right.
and they say that they had sent letters to um, the owner, sent letters to sent letters to the sent letters to the owner, and the owner that they had sent the letter to didn't even own the house anymore. They just torn this man's house down to the slab. And
Right.
so you know we're encouraging people to, if you got you got a home that you're not living in, you need to make sure, because he had material in there. He was remodeling the house, and then when you saw the I can't read that. There's something blocking this, but Patrick Davis put something up there. I can't see it.
It's a WMAZ article.
Yeah, I couldn't. It's a little block box up here that's blocking me to read anything on here. But yeah, just make sure that you check your property to make sure, because you don't want to you know come home and go past that and it's demolished and torn down. So that's something that we need to be following up on to make sure that these letters are actually being sent out appropriately. I think they should be sent by certified mail to make sure that
People are getting
the
them.
people are getting them. And then when people don't respond, and you actually you know got the wrong address and sending them to the the wrong address, and people's houses are demolished that shouldn't be demolished. So
And then
uh,
too with the mail, you can't really depend on the mail being timely. You know,
right, right.
so a lot of people are getting things after the fact.
Yeah, and we got a phone call also in reference to the housing authority, where people, I don't know if you saw that, where the young lady was on there, that in the media, where she had got a statement saying that she owed $700 some. Then the next month she got another statement saying she owed $11,000. And
Well,
so I'm seeing Patrick Davis. That Patrick Davis posted
yes,
something.
it says Eric Arnold said the county wrongfully demolished the home he was fixing up, and now he's taking the county to court.
Yeah, yeah, we saw
Yeah,
he was burning home. So something else after I talked about just keep mentioning. But we got to pay close attention. I'm encouraging people to keep up with their receipts. You
absolutely.
need to get you a file. Get you a file, and just all your important paperwork. You need to organize it in your rent receipts, whatever uh, information that you get dealing with your housing. See, because the thing about it is, you can you can kind of work with your electricity, but when you don't have anywhere to stay, you don't need electricity. So that's
Exactly.
why you need to make sure you keep up with your paperwork, because these people have been keeping up with their paperwork, and then now they're saying that, oh, those letters went out by mistake. They couldn't have went out by mistake, because you handwritten,
Right.
you handwritten information on this letter. They saying some of, so what we're gonna do is hold a town hall meeting. I just got to get a date in place so we can check and address people that we don't know. To my understanding, it's a lot of people got letters, and I think the management, from what I was told, all the management, that one person died, and I'm not gonna say how he died, but and then the other people were actually terminated.
Wow.
So, that's something that we need to, it's a lot, I'm seeing a lot of that in the housing authority properties, where people are being, or either leaving it or terminated. And that's something that, they're not going to give you that information, but it's something that it's a red flag to me, that you have such a large turnover in property management. And so we want to make sure that people, money that are paying their rent, nothing funny is going on with the money, or they're not being taken advantage of, and money is being paid, and then they're having to
Come up
come
with
up with
additional
with
money.
additional money, or receiving letters like these. Because my concern was, if somebody owed $11,000, then they should have been getting a letter
A
before now.
long time ago.
Yeah, and so
Long
um,
time. Years
that
ago.
that's a red flag. That's a red flag to the NAACP, and I'm it's not just that one. We've had an incident last year with, over in another seniors apartment, where someone was arrested. But we don't know whether these people are resigning versus being arrested, or whether it's related to money. But we do know that people were terminated, left in Anthony Holmes management there. So it's just something that I really think that HUD, or the inspector general, or someone needs to come down and do an investigation into the housing authority. It's not an isolated incident.
Absolutely.
I don't. I know that, because I've talked to tenants in different various apartment complexes where mistakes have been made, and they're just letting them not pay rent for a while. So these situations are not. It's not just one isolated incident. I
Absolutely.
just don't know. I'm not understanding it, but it, it's very serious. Homelessness is very serious.
Right. And you might want to give them a real quick plug before we go off the air. We got about 1 minute. on our banquet again?
Yes, the Macon NAACP is having our 52nd Earl T. Shin Hostess Freedom Fund Award Banquet. The tickets are $50. It's going to be at the Unionville Missionary Baptist Church. Pastor I.E. Mack is the pastor there, but the speaker will be Apostle Vertice Rozier. He will be the speaker for our event. We're going to have some good food, some good entertainment. And this is a benefit concert. The money that is raised, we use it to put back in our community. So we want to make sure that you do support.
You have been listening to the
help
live
us
broadcast of the
that
NAACP with
we have
Gwynette and
up
Mr.
as still we're
Join
continuing
us
to
next
support
Monday
our
at 4
community.
o'clock
Thank
We'll
you.
see you next week.
980 WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.